The big news is that the event on Zoom last night about what happened to Kamala, it went really, really well. It turns out that, even though, yes, I miss being on YouTube with a larger group of you, yes, I really miss that, I just do better in that smaller space that is just really solid and really dialed in, because then I can really focus on my topic and get through to all of you what I really, really need to get through. Coming into the event, coming into Friday night, 3-4 days out, sometimes I think about myself, remember that children's book a long time ago called Frederick the Mouse? Sometimes I feel like I'm Frederick the Mouse, and I'm scurrying around and I'm gathering all the colors and gathering all the memories and gathering all the stories. I'm that person. And so 3-4 days ago, that's what I did. I started scurrying around like Frederick the Mouse and gathering all my memories and gathering all the things that I wanted to say and gathering this and gathering that, and then lining them up in a very kind of cohesive style, doing all of that. And being able to be on Zoom in that smaller private space, it really helped me focus on so much more of the detail. Now, here's the crazy thing. Look at this. These are the notes that I had. These are the notes that I had to go through last night. People are kind of laughing a little bit because it was 9 sections of notes. I mean, that's crazy, but that's how prepared I came last night. And yeah, we kind of rocked the house with a lot of information. Now, here's the crazy part. I walked away from the whole thing going, there's still things I want to say. And I kind of wove those into the video. So, you'll see the banner there. And what is it? It's an 85-minute video with a 4-page PDF with a little bit of information. And the things that I forgot, I wove them back into the video with a little bit of text. I got those in. And there were a couple things I missed. And so I want to share a couple of those with you here. One of them was the tidbit about, we still have not figured out why Barack Obama and Donald Trump were sitting next to one another at President Jimmy Carter's funeral, and they were just chit-chatting, and a lip reader read it, and what the lip reader basically said was, Donald Trump wanting to talk with Obama about a deal, because, of course, Trump's always about the deal. And Barack Obama saying, no, we can't talk here. And so if you go watch this video about, what happened to Kamala and all the different things I bring up, you can just kind of weave into it this whole thing of they've all got all these different things going on that we never even know about. And so that little piece of the nugget of what were they talking about and what deal were they talking about, that never got answered. That's still floating around out there. So, that's one piece that I want to leave with you. The other one that I want to stitch in here is also the thing about the handler, the president's handlers, and people, some people have said in comment section, that's old news. Of course it's old news. Other people are getting caught up to speed, oh my God, what's a handler? I've never heard about a handler. And so, when you watch this video about what happened to Kamala, I talk about these players way behind the scenes. We never know who they are. We don't know what their names are. We don't know what their faces are. And a lot of them are calling the shots. And it's that higher up place of that 8-headed monster corporate consortium kind of thing. And near as I can figure, and people confirmed it in the comments, our presidents have handlers. Our presidents have handlers who tell them how to handle the corporate shots on stuff. Our presidents don't belong to us first. They belong to all the corporate buyout first. So, and I talk about the ins and outs of that in this recording. Now, the last thing I want to leave with you, I pulled some numbers, and I didn't share these numbers last night, and I want to share these numbers here now, kind of as seed plantings. So let me pull up these numbers. Let's take a look at this. So these are the numbers that I want to drop with you. These are the numbers I want you to consider, because they kind of roll by and we really don't pay attention to them. We don't consider them. And I looked these up the night before I did the recording, the What Happened to Kamala recording. And the first one is, what is the annual United States gross domestic product for 2024? What was that number? That number is $27.72 trillion. So 2024, we did 27.72 trillion in our gross domestic product. That is all of us. That is the 350 million plus and the immigrant population coming in to help create that all together. We did that together. I want you to start thinking about us as far as what we can do together as a collective. So $27.72 trillion. Then I got to thinking, I was like, wow, how much do we all as a collective pay in for our annual tax revenue as a nation? So I looked that up. That is, we paid in last year, 2024, we paid in $4.92 trillion in revenue in our United States tax system. Now, this is raw data. This is just me pulling numbers off of Google. You know, you can go look them up. No harm, no foul. But I want you to be thinking about this. Then I started thinking about, oh my God, 4.92 trillion in revenue paid into our internal revenue system, the IRS. What if we divided that by 51, including Puerto Rico? Because we got to include Puerto Rico. What if we divided that 4.92 trillion by 51? What is that? If we started funneling that money, raw money, back to the states on an annual basis, what would that look like? Guess what each state would get, including Puerto Rico? $98.4 billion. That's how much we would get. Do you know how much we could solve per state with $98.4 billion? We could make sure that everybody had a roof over their head so they didn't have to worry about that. We could end food insecurity. We could make sure every single person is educated to the level that they want to get educated to without having to worry about college debt. Think about what we could do with that money. So this is what I want to leave with you, is because like right now we are trusting our federal government with our hard-earned dollars to do the right things. And we can see what's happening with that now, and we can actually see who the loyalty goes to as far as like our elected officials, who their loyalty goes to first, except for a handful of representatives. Like most everybody in Washington is bought and sold. We know this at this point. This is no news to us. And so I'm planting this seed. Like you go watch my video, you go watch all the drama that's been going on. You know, we're all, you know, very aware of what's going on right now. And I want to plant this seed, this idea of like, we're so powerful as a collective. Kamala showed that to us. We're so powerful as a collective. That's the magic that she gave us. We're so powerful as a collective. What if with our power and our energy and our force and our nature and the dollars that we're already creating, what if we brought that money home? What if we had more context with how that money is spent at home to take care of real issues, to take care of people who are hurting and need homes and need food and need health care and need education. These are our basic sovereign birthrights of existence here on the planet. That and in clean environment, clean air, clean water. So just ask yourself, the state that you live in, what could your state, for the betterment of our communities, what could your state do with $98.4 billion? Including Puerto Rico. We could help Puerto Rico, get their grid back up again, help them get them back in an infrastructure, sustainability again, right? So, and I know that's just a raw number. That's just kind of me pulling some numbers out of the sky. And, and I'm sure there's ins and outs to everything. Somebody in the comments is going, what about the armed services? What about USAID? What about all these things? Well, those are legitimate questions, but what if states decided first about their own destiny without sending off all that money to people that we know at this point their loyalty lies elsewhere first? before us. I think we need to be looking at it. Just seed planting, just like what's going on over on the Hope Peddler, just like what's going on over on some of the conversations on the Hope Peddler site. This is me planting the idea into Project 2026, us taking our power back. What would we do with our own money if it stayed in the States? Just an idea, planting a seed. And yeah, go get the recording. What happened to Kamala? Gonna leave that with you. And I will be back tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow Sunday, with the forecast. I'm kind of sucking a little oxygen trying to keep up here. All right, thanks for being here. I will see you in my next video. Mwah.